Put it away. Put it away. Put it. Hurry up!
Ring, 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 hero synth.
It's the last day of 2021, so you
virgins.
should be respectful to vegans.
Happy New
Get
Year.
serious. Get serious.
Shut the fuck up. Happy New Year. And welcome back to Krown's magical dancing game.
What the fuck was that to start off with? That was embarrassing. Get out of my face for right now. We have plenty to discuss today, and it's not about goddamn bell ringing. It's about some price action over here, as we have a few very big things to be aware of. And before we get into it, I do want to let everyone know out there, hey, have a nice and happy last day of 2021. Be safe if you're having a nice little party tonight and doing all sorts of crazy things in the evening, in the late evening hours or whatever the fuck it is. I'm gonna be going to bed at 9 p.m. as the good old crypto simp that I am. So hopefully everyone out there has some good plans. Probably better than my own, as well, fair enough, man, fair enough. Everything's actually closed down here anyways. Wait, hey, what's up? What's excuse me over there? Elsa's barking in the background, so who the hell knows what's going on right now? Say what? I did not say my plans are boring. That's exactly right. It's me and Elsa tonight. It's going to be a fun time, baby. Anyways, I see that there's already 700 people watching right now, which is insane. 218 people liking the video, and it is basically a holiday. Massive appreciation for that, as always. It is just incredible, the support on this channel that we've been receiving over the past few months here, especially just mind-blowing realistically. And I do want to say a sincere thank you for that in the year of 2021, as we head on into a new year of new opportunities. And of course, you know my thoughts on that. I don't give a fuck what day it is. It's just a Saturday tomorrow. But you know what? If it gives you a chance, if it gives you a reason to go out there and have a good time, hey man, go out there and have a good time. You've earned it. There's very little going on right now in cryptocurrency land, so it's time to be realistically preparing for the next month to come in January, which is really going to be the focus of today. Oh man, and I just saw that we have a new little thumbnail over there. I'm actually going to upload that really quickly right here. Bad timing to be doing this, but I do want to make sure that this is nice and visible. My man, Mr. Faraz, has set it up ever so lovingly for us, so I'm just going to pop it in over here, and then voila, it's a whole new, hey, what the hell? That was not it. That's not it. Hey, what the fuck's going on right there? That is not, oh dear Lord, man, what have I done now? There, no? God damn it. Where the fuck did I put this damn thing? Oh, man. I'm already fucking up right now. I apologize about that. We're going to get into in just a second over here. I do have a lot of things to be speaking about, of course, on a day like today. And again, it is a big preparation for the month to come. The biggest news of today, realistically, is the major options expiration. As always, when it comes to major options expirations, and there we go. I just popped it in right there. Save, beautiful, and we are ready to rock and roll. When it comes to major options expirations, a lot of these decisions have been made, in the weeks prior, but a lot of the time you will see as price action does, or sorry, not price action, but the days come closer and closer to expiration, we actually do see a lot of the, a lot of those major pivots on price action for the long term, that is, especially now that it is a quarterly expiration right here, and not just quarterly, but also end of year. So it's going to be a lot of action kind of pivoted around this. So that is going to be the preparation for today, which leads us into, of course, the new year. And before we get into that, I should let you know that we also have a sale going on right now, 20% off of all the programs. No, it's not my birthday bash, although it would be like year 100 by this point, but all good right there. What I do want to say with that is that if you are interested in any one of the programs, make sure that you go into the store and watch the promotional videos. I'm talking about this store over here and all the videos that accompany them right there. And that sale will be going on for another just over 2 days, it looks like. So all good right there. Anyways, let me make sure that my comments are ready to rock and roll over there. Okay, beautiful. All right, I think we're ready to get into it. Now, I wanted to pull up something from the other day, and I want to give a big shout out to my good friend, Mr. Cat from BitBoy. This guy's amazing. He found the fucking Trump clip that I was looking for. And here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Why for the love of God, or explain this to me, Trump fans, and also, okay, the red team and the blue team, explain this shit to me. Why is Hillary and Trump saying the exact same things with not liking Bitcoin? Here, let me provide you some proof. We'll do some proof right now, okay? Listen to this. This is fucking amazing, okay? This is incredible. This is the best treat of 2021 that I could have possibly asked to end for, and just listen to this first part, okay? Trump,
I spoke with President Donald
please
Trump
respond.
over the weekend. Here's what he had to say on crypto and on his new social media platform, Truth Social.
Here we go.
That Melania has an NFT.
Yeah, she's going to do great.
She's got an NFT.
She's got a great imagination.
She's got a great imagination.
And people love
her.
Our former First Lady.
Imagine saying that for a second. And people love our former first lady. It's like, that has nothing to do with the fucking question. But hold on.
That. They really do. They love her. I go to the rallies. We had a massive rally in Alabama.
Massive rallies.
So many times.
They
We
love
love
the
our
first lady.
first lady. They really
What do you
love
think
her.
about crypto? Because
What do you think about crypto? Okay, we just spoke about NFTs and how they're so fucking great for my wife Melania, but what about crypto? Which, by the way, are fucking NFTs.
you know, New York and Miami is really getting cryptocurrency into their financial system.
Well, I never loved it because I like to have
Never
the
lo-
dollar.
I like the
think
dollar.
The currency should be the dollar. So
The
I was
dollar.
never a big fan, but it's building.
Obviously doesn't fucking understand that cryptocurrency, aka Bitcoin, namely, is a asset as defined by the goddamn authorities who essentially take care of all the taxes and whatnot. That is how it's defined under his administration, just by the way. So it's in no way, shape, or form a competitor to the dollar to begin with. It's a fucking asset. Same thing as like a house. Anyways, we'll go on further here.
Up bigger and bigger, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Nobody's doing anything about it.
It's I know it so well. Look,
Hold on! What the fuck did you just say? She's asking him a very specific question. What do you think about this? And he's like, well, you know, it's and that, and no one's doing anything about it. And and I just know it so well. Imagine fucking saying that when someone asks you a question. This is proof that all of these fuckers are just where does that come from, man? Who the hell believes anything like that? And I know it so I know it so well. Like, imagine that during an analysis. Okay, so Bitcoin's going down here and Bitcoin's going to go to this and do that. Well, I'm not really sure, but I know it so well, guys. I know it so well.
I want a currency called
the dollar. It's
I
not a
don't wanna
fucking
have all
currency.
these
It's an
others,
asset.
and that could be an explosion someday, like the likes of which we've never seen. It'll make
Always goes towards that. Always. It's genius, man. It's fucking genius. But I couldn't not share that for today. It's fucking amazing, man. Like, the amount of people who will be simps, who will join this cult of both the red team and the blue team, not realizing that there's two sides of the same goddamn coin. Hillary said the exact same fucking thing, but in a little bit more of like a coherent way. Funnily enough, you know, for a little bit more of a coherent way. But goddamn, man, it's just hilarious to me that people, especially in this, you know, in this space as well, they will subscribe to one of those two teams, not realize that they are the exact same thing. Realistically, when it comes down to probably the matters that matter, or probably the matters that matter to you the most, I would imagine, especially, you know, tuning into content like this. Anyways, let's get into the actual analysis for today. I have spoken my head off, probably pissed off enough people right there. Hey, look, we can go make fun of the other team as well. No doubt about that. In fact, they're a little bit more easy to make fun of right now as well. You know, the blue team, they got that Biden guy in. He's a fucking hoot. Anyways, let's go over here. I want to show you the new beta, of which it's actually not fully done right now, but it will be ready in just a few days. Actually, in I think 3 days from now, we will put it live. But what do I want to speak about right here? I want to once again put the eyes on my damn leverage ratio, which is in this corner. I'm going to make this nice and big, blow it the fuck up, make it huge, if you will. And what do you know? We are still at all-time highs for the leverage ratio. So we are seeing, you know, a major expiration in just a few hours here. I believe it's in 2 hours. It's either 2 or 3 hours. I believe it's 2 hours, however, because we do have daylight savings and all that good stuff. But because there is major expirations with extremely high leverage, which will represent both options and, of course, futures contracts expiring around the same time, well, we very likely do see some nice pivots on price action coming in the next few days, especially into this first week of Q1 of 2022. And this kind of represents, you know, or shows the severity of it. Now, to be fair, anytime that we have seen leverage ratios, realistically, anywhere above, you know, not 0.17, they actually have all been downside resolutions, all of them except for one. And you'll see that one back on over here from the summer, where Bitcoin did actually have that mega bear trap from 30,000 all the way up to 53,000 within the next like month or so of just straight up price action. But here's the thing, even on that leverage ratio, which was, you know, an extreme read right there, it was actually the lowest of the 1, 2, 3, and perhaps even 4 major areas that we're looking at right here, which is a little bit more concerning, I do think. And of course, you know, you want to have full information when looking at something like this. And of course, that would be a little bit more of on the bearish side, historically speaking. Doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't pop back onto the upside. I will be showing my sort of bullish view on this price action as well. And it's in that case is still very much available, still very much valid as well here. See some people saying, let's go, Brandon. God, can we not get fucking political? Like, look, they're both ridiculous. They're both fucking ridiculous. But then again, I guess if it's let's go, Brandon, it's not like saying, you know, Trump is great. It's just saying that Brandon is not that great, which I would kind of agree with as well, actually. Anyways, let's go over here and let's pop up the open interest as well. And I'm just going to plot it down right there. You can see again that anytime that we actually have seen open interest, you know, relatively high. And when I say relatively high, I mean above the about $11.5 billion marker, they've all been downside resolutions. In comparison to what we saw over the summer, where the leverage ratio was extremely high, but the open interest was actually rather low, well, that was your only bear trap situation from that data. And right now, we're not necessarily at all-time highs for the open interest, but we certainly are, you know, in the areas that we have seen some pretty catastrophic price action. We're talking about back on over from the summer highs at $65,000. We're talking about that $10,000 or $13,000 move to the downside in late September, leading into our last higher low, by the way. And of course, the more recent one at the all-time high in early November. So all of this stuff is, you know, is a little bit more on the bear side, obviously. But of course, at the end of the day, needs to be combined with price action. And for right now, Bitcoin, I do still think probably puts in a low right here and probably does put in at least one more rally. So let me take a sip of this and then we're going to get into the recording. And I want to talk about actually the options expiration right here and give this one a little bit of its own due diligence. So uno momento, my friends. There we go. All right, got my nice little Krown cup for my coffee. Now it's time for a little bit of water over here. I love that cup. I love that cup, man. All right, cool. Let's see. How do I want to start this one off? Yeah, humongous expiration coming in just a second here. All right. Okay, it is the last day of the year 2021, December 31st right now. Wishing you a happy and healthy start to this or end to this year and a start to hopefully 2022, as we will be speaking soon enough anyways. But more importantly, we do see today in just a couple hours here, there's going to be one of the biggest options expiration and futures expiration, you know, for the whole year, or basically, I mean, pretty much ever, considering that open interest is, or just, you know, the market in general is bigger than it's ever been. But as we do see on December 31st right here, to put it in a graphical format, the open interest for both calls and puts overshadows anything else that is currently on the board. Obviously, it is the most, you know, relevant expiration, but I just want to show that there is 80,000 calls bought versus about 30,000 puts expiring in just a couple hours here. I believe it's actually about 1.5 hours if my memory serves me correctly. And you can see over here that the max pain price for this would theoretically be about $47,000. Funnily enough, Bitcoin is exactly there right here, right now. So when you do have a major expiration like this for both options and futures at about the same time, you know, you very likely will see some major pivots on price action. And a lot of the time it will be contrary actually to the general trend. And in this case, the general trend is to the downside. Here's the thing though, I do not want to be feeding hopium on a day like today, because at the end of the day, understand Bitcoin is, you know, it's still in a downtrend as long as we're below about $52,000. Of course, weeklies are still within an uptrend as long as we're above $41,000, which I do believe that represents the macro direction of this asset. And basically we have the same sort of setup as before, meaning this, Bitcoin is within a range as long as we're above about 45,500 on a daily closing basis, or below $52,000 on, again, a higher term time frame closing basis. I don't really have any reason to be looking at any sort of major massive breakout to the upside nor the downside. Here's the thing, if you want to make this as simple as possible, here's what I'd be doing right here, going over to my good and bad chart, which is kind of funny, but it does work and it's been working for the past month or so now. And if Bitcoin does close below the bottom side range of that, then I would be looking for big bad moves down at minimum somewhere around our last major wick low from the 4th of December, that being in the low $40,000 territory. And by extension, if Bitcoin does pop back above about $52,000 especially, we will see this confirmed as your next major weekly low, which would be our next higher low on the weekly, which will very likely imply price action back up somewhere around about $58,000 to $59,000 and very likely set up for an extremely bullish Q1 of 2022, which is kind of where I am leaning at right now. But my opinion is not necessary on price action like this. What is necessary is to have these sort of major areas and major pivots marked off, and then understanding where what the relationship between them is. So if we go over here into the weekly, I do want to show this as well, kind of a little bit more, I guess, on the bullish side. If Bitcoin does pop back above that $52,000 region, then of course we will see another drive of hidden bullish divergence confirmed on the weekly right here. Yes, we technically have one right now, to be fair, but that is not actionable in the way that I look at things. As long as Bitcoin is below range highs, that is a bit of a potential trap situation, obviously. So until until one of those conditions is confirmed, I don't really think that there's like a humongous setup right here, but ultimately this sort of potential higher low on the weekly coming in on declining volatility is typically going to be a good sign. For example, the last time we saw something like this was coming off of the last major bear trap that we saw in, of course, July of this year, when Bitcoin went from 30,000 all the way to 53,000. And then, of course, the one before that did lead to a downside resolution over here. That was your actually May dump. May dump from 60,000 to 30,000. So it is direction neutral, obviously, but typically speaking, when you are pulling into a higher low fashion on declining volatility, it is typically going to lead towards long-term continuation, at least in the way they look at things, especially alongside a major moving average like this, the green 55. If you are in the program, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And more importantly, I do want to pull up a few things now on the shorter term timeframes. If we go on over here, go down to a 4-hour time frame for what it's worth, and we can chart out the short-term timeframes, no problem. It's basically, we are, very, very close to the bottom side resolution of this, but again, I am looking for bounces around this region, regardless of whether I'm bullish or bearish. At minimum, just again for a bounce, not necessarily a reversal, by the simple fact of Bitcoin, playing off the same ranges here. And what do you know? Bitcoin technically would have a higher low on the daily. Let me get rid of this. It's a bit of an eyesore, not relevant towards this time frame. But Bitcoin actually does have higher lows on the daily. And if you are looking at this current consolidation, well, then guess what? You would actually be looking at this current area. Whoops, you would be looking at the wrong thing right there because I'm clicking the wrong damn buttons. But you'd be looking at this current area around the 618 Fibonacci retracement, which, is the golden pocket. So I am kind of looking for bounces around there on a higher low schedule. It's just, a bit more aggressive than what you probably would like. Again, be aware, as long as if Bitcoin does break below 45.5, the hopium is over for a while, at least for the daily. I would be looking for that continuation down at December 4th lows. Until then, however, there is a few major points of hopium that I do think are relevant to be knowing and could be confirmed as soon as today, actually. The first big one would be the daily right here. If the daily does close anywhere back above this little this little short-term structure, which is about 48,000 and some odd change, I'd say about 48,200. You could probably even use a 4-hour to front this one as well. And yes, I do think that a 4-hour front running would be okay in this situation. Then I would confirm this as your next daily higher low, and Bitcoin very likely does work its way back up towards the upper $49,000 territories over the next few days here, and that's going to make this start to look a lot better for the short and medium term, which can obviously bleed into the higher term timeframes, of course. Again, be aware of where the invalidation is, and be aware that as long as we're below $52,000, it's just lower highs still. But here is the biggest hopium that I can kind of come up with for now, which I do think warrants a lot of consideration. And maybe before we get into the hopium, I do go through the lower term time frame momentum oscillators, which all of them are kind of in the same posturing as yesterday, which we were saying, hey, more likely to bounce around this region. We're getting that right now. 4-hour Stokes are nice and vertical and erect as long as we're above about 46,700. That is good. 3-hour is also going to be up as well, as long as above 47,433, which Bitcoin is currently above by a hair. Bi-hourly is going to be popping back up above 47.5, and hourly is going to be freshly up above 47,120 or so. So all of that, still does kind of align with Bitcoin playing out a little bit more of a short-term move rather than, short-term move to the upside rather than a downside move. And again, we even see the medium-term timeframes now starting to turn around as well. The 12-hour will start to turn here officially above 46,730 within the next 5 hours, 31 minutes, and 10 seconds right there. And I think even the daily is starting to correct rather heftily. Yeah, it is still corrective here, so I don't think that Bitcoin's going to be like busting on through to new all-time highs today or anything like that. Again, this happens likely very, very slowly, but we will see daily momentum turn back up above 50,900. And as long as Bitcoin essentially just doesn't break below its current low side structure, well, that is a corrective read actually in the way that I look at things, which would be, quote unquote good long term, I guess. Anyways, here is the hopium that I want to be talking about. It's something that we've been referencing and watching for the last month or so now, and I think that it once again warrants some consideration here because it has not been invalidated just yet. And we had a good discussion about this in the Discord yesterday. I forget who it was. I think his name was Agro. Anyways, I want to make sure that I'm relating these concepts properly here so that it all makes sense and that it all flows. But basically, what I'm talking about right now is a potential situation which has not been invalidated just yet. And as long as this is not invalidated, I actually do look at this as, personally speaking, the more likely thing to be happening based off of historical statistics. That's all. That's it. And again, what would invalidation be? Well, you can already imagine it's below about 45 or 45,500 on a higher term time frame closure. Until then, this is not invalidated, and let's go over it right now. So I'm going to pull it all the way out. So when in doubt, pull it out, as you know. And what do you know? We have the daily stochastic momentum on CME. Once again, it's rearing its beautiful head, and we have 8 iterations of this historically. All of them have produced at minimum a nice bounce coming off of the green horizontal level right here. So all of those blue vertical bars represent a test towards that, except for a few of them, because we'll get into that soon enough. Anyways, my point is that at minimum, we have seen some pretty impressive bounces, even in the context of very, very nasty downside bearish markets. I want to call out the least impressive signature of this one, of which that was about a 27-28% rally to the upside from signal given to next high. And that was the least impressive one. All of the other ones were at minimum 50%, even though they were ultimately failures. But here's the thing. There are two of these iterations that are most consistent with the current iteration that Bitcoin is working on right now. And it is represented by this one right here, represented by the red circles in the bottom pane right here. So that is, of course, your 2018 macro cycle lows at 3,100, where Bitcoin put in a technical formation in the format of an ascending triangle. And then, of course, worked its way upwards and onwards. And we never even saw lower than 3,100 ever since, which doesn't mean that it can't happen, but it hasn't happened. So fair enough. So that's good enough, most likely. Anyways, let me make sure that I'm out of my trade over here. Yes, nice. Beautiful. There we go. That's a good start to the day. And then we have the next one over here from March 2020, the flu dump, as Bitcoin does dump like absolutely devastatingly right there, obviously. And then what do you know? Bitcoin puts in a ascending triangle at the bottom, and then upwards and onwards we go after the breakout for the next, eternity until now. And then more recently, this last 9 months or so has been one massive ascending triangle in the making, which does imply that the greater formation would be destroyed if Bitcoin does take out the last higher low on the higher term timeframes, this being a weekly, which is about 4,100, or sorry, not 4,100, but 41,000 in this case. Now, let's take this a couple steps further, because this can be dialed in significantly more. So I want to now talk about the fractal of a signal here, and this is the real focus of this. It's not about the percentage bounces. It's not about anything more than the fractal of the signal, which is produced in all two of the prior signals, which is not that much, to be fair. So that is a good counterpoint to this, but the past two prior signals have produced the macro lows, not major lows, not daily lows, not fucking 4-hour lows, but we're talking about macro lows where Bitcoin has never gone below ever since these signals have been printed. And it is this. Anytime that we have seen Bitcoin on the daily stochastic momentum for CME specifically base at least twice on this green horizontal bar right here, which, by the way, this current iteration that we're looking at has actually based off of it 3 times with 2 rejections, 1 rejection, 2 rejection, third one accepted. This has been rather, well, impressive, if I do say so, when we look at the historical signatures that are similar to that. The last one, of course, coming in from March 2020, you see 1 rejection, the second one accepted, and then after that, and I'm representing this blue vertical bar right here. What are you doing? Anyway, okay, moi moi. I guess Elsa's leaving right now. I guess it's all over. Oh well. Anyways, you see that actually getting the tick to the low, beautiful right there. And then over the next 2 months, Bitcoin actually does consolidate and put in the next higher low right around the 618 Fibonacci retracement, which we referenced earlier, and we're going to bring it back again as well. But here's the thing. After that initial signature right here, where you do see the signature itself, the fractal of that signature confirmed back above the critical zone, and then, of course, move up towards this next green horizontal bar right here. Anywhere around there's fair game, which is around the bullish control zone. We can make a bit of a range between kind of where it's at right there and where it's at right here, as that would actually that'd be a little more accurate. Sorry, it is more like a 54 read. And then you will notice that around that next green horizontal bar, around the bullish control zone, that is where Bitcoin puts in that first lower high right, or sorry, not first lower high, but that first high right there, and then higher low afterwards. And then, of course, you see the same thing over here as well. So if you're looking at those green horizontal bars, they represent both of these represent the next high and the next low that you see after that. And then, of course, it does take, like I said, about at least a month to a month and a half after this one to consolidate and then bust on through to the upside. Your next higher low after that signature was met over here was at the 618 Fibonacci retracement. Keep that number in mind. I maybe didn't do the best job of expressing it right there, but again, we're going to go look at the prior iteration on the cycle macro lows at 3,100, just a little bit priorly. That was, of course, in January 2019 to December 2018, and same thing over here. This one significantly more similar to our current signature going on, where you have the fractal of a signature, 1 base, 2 base get rejected right there, the third one accepted back above the critical zone, and then you get your first rally attempt. And that is when you do see that first move in to the green horizontal sort of range that I have right there, which, guess what, that governs your high on this one. Sorry, let me actually do it properly. On this one right here, and then your next low right there, of course. And then it even comes down significantly lower than that over time. And guess where it puts in the next major higher low before never going lower than that ever again in the history of Bitcoin to date, I suppose. I mean, you know, weird things can happen, obviously, and we should keep an open mind. But that was at the 618 Fibonacci retracement right here at about 3350 compared to our macro 3100 low right there. So I thought that was rather interesting because we have something relatively similar to both of those iterations going on right here, where we do see that first fractal of a signature confirmed. So that is all good in the hood right there. The daily stochastic goes back above the critical zone and is working its way towards these green horizontal bars right here. Momentum is still remaining to the upside. However, this will actually turn down officially below 49,850. That would not be an invalidation of the condition. The invalidation, again, is going to be with a daily closure below the range lows, as we would not expect not to see, of course, any sort of lower lows if this one does hold to fruition. And then of course, where is our current high? Well, right around that sort of green horizontal bar, and our current low, also right around that green horizontal bar, which I thought was interesting right there. Now this one is, to be fair, not as precise as the prior two iterations with getting into these green horizontal bars right here, but very close nonetheless. And this is not we don't have the full information on this one just yet as well, so it's not proper to judge it until we get something that's just different, and we haven't got that just yet. And also, thus far, where is Bitcoin essentially put in what would be this next higher low? Right around the 618 Fibonacci retracement. And remember, and I forgot to point this out as well, but on both of the prior consolidations, they took at minimum about a month and a half to 2 months to bust on through after those signatures were given. So same thing over here, same thing over here. This one a little bit longer. This one took about 2 months. This one took about a month and a half, as you can see. And as of right now, could Bitcoin take longer within this general consolidation before busting on through in this massive ascending triangle that, I'm essentially looking at if I am going to be long-term bullish on Bitcoin? Well, likely yes, but here's the thing. If we're looking at an apex at about mid-April to basically late April, somewhere around there, it is statistically very, very likely for these formations to break when they're about 70 to 75% full. And what do you know? When we're about 70 to 75% full, that would be late January, early February right here. That would be about a month to a month and a half from our current date, which realistically this whole signature started about in, let's say, middle of December. So that would be about 2 months, which is very much in line with what we have seen on the prior iterations. And that's kind of my bullish hopium for this price action right now. And that is available. That is validated or not invalidated, I should say, as long as Bitcoin is running these higher lows from this current consolidation structure right here. And we'd expect Bitcoin to spend some time doing the old LARP lines right here, something like that over the next week and a half or so. And then what confirmation would look like on the next major piece of the puzzle for this one, assuming we do not hit invalidation, and this is probably the key point of this video, all boils back down to this. $52,000 right fucking there, baby. So back above that region, hey, that starts to look really, really good for the macro. And because this is one massive ascending triangle, we could make an implied target upon validation above the top side resistance of this, which is about $60,000 on a higher term time frame closure, which would be in line with the 1.618 Fibonacci extension from this prior base, which is basically your plan B targets towards $95,000 to $100,000 or so, in the following weeks or months upon confirmation. So it's going to be a very long day today as Bitcoin kind of dances around what would be the invalidation for this whole idea. But I want to bring one more angle towards this as well. And I want to call out Mr. Cosmic Whale from the Discord for pointing this one out to me. Really appreciate when people actually present something that's pretty damn cool. And this is pretty damn cool. So this is the daily PMAR for Bitcoin. I'll show you my settings really quickly here. I'm just using the PMAR, not the PMARP. I'm running a 20 VWMA, 2000 look back, and 35 VWMA for the signal length. Anyways, the reason why I'm calling this one out is because he's actually found a pretty good sort of regression on these trend lines that have been correlated incredibly well with major highs and major lows over the past year for Bitcoin. So we're obviously going to, or I should mark them off right here. We have this one, obviously. We have this one for our next major low. We have, a little bit of, my apologies right there. Sorry. We have this major high over here, obviously. We have, where's the next major low? That'd be right here on this tick, and we actually have another iteration right there. Beautiful. And we have, of course, this one right here, also fulfilling a bottom side trend line test. We have this one over here, filling this upside test, and I actually have this one a little bit too lenient right there. There we go. That's actually perfect now. And then we do see another test towards it right here. And then, of course, our more recent lows are starting to come in line with that. In fact, we did hit it on the December 4th yet again. But does it come down from maybe one more low within this region? Maybe yes, but ultimately, I do think that that would kind of align with a little bit more of the hopium look on this. And basically, if you are looking at this as one major ascending triangle, you're probably looking at, yeah, this. I think actually that would be kind of forming the low right there if that is going to hold to fruition. So, you know, when it all comes down to it, again, I don't want to be feeding too much hopium right near. I understand Bitcoin's in a downtrend on all time frames up to, you know, 5-day and a weekly, which are the ones most important for macro direction. But, you know, if Bitcoin starts to bust on through about $52,000 to the upside, I do think that we will see that macro reversal, and this will be one of those more surprising segments within the market. Again, this is all kind of being put in around this major options expiration over here and major futures expirations, probably one of the biggest ones of the year, December 31st, obviously, for cryptocurrencies. And a lot of the time you do see major reversals around those dates. In fact, we have seen major reversals in December of 2019. 2018, which was, of course, the last macro cycle low, which was way back on over here. And we did see, of course, a major one, a major breakout on last year's in December 2020 above our prior $20,000 all-time high. So I thought that all this was rather interesting. Again, please understand what the validations and invalidations like this for this look like, because that is going to massively, change the equation. But ultimately, do I think there's still a little bit more hopium here? Yeah, I do think that there's a little more hopium, but man, it is very, 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 very close to being destroyed again. So hopefully that was in some way helpful. And there you go for Bitcoin, sirs and sirs. Enjoy your New Year's Eve, and yeah, nice. All right, sweet. Got through all of that. A little bit too long. Apologies on that. One maybe 10 more minutes than what I probably should have, but it was worth it for the Trump video, man. It was worth it for the Trump video. So I'm going to take a sippy sip of this water, and then we'll get into it. I see that we got our lovely moderators here. What's up, Nikki Page? Good morning to you. I see Elsa's here as well, to keeping everyone safe in Safu. I think everyone else is probably taken. No, we got African Crypto Warlord. He's not taking the day off, but look, man, hey, there is no obligations in. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? I think there's some, no, I think I did not fart. I think there was some snow falling outside. I see Jack. I see Matt Chapman. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Another OG of the cave. HD not lost. There he is. And I think we can get into it right now. I just need to take a sippy sip of this water, and I'll go into the comments over here. Do you happen to know who's first for today?
I do. I believe it is the second line. Who is Thomas?
Okay, let's see. Yes, I believe it is Thomas. Who is Thomas says, good evening, Cave Dwellers. Good evening to you as well. May I trouble you for some unbiased insight into FLUX USD on the 1-4 or daily on KuCoin? Sure. Let's pull it up over here, and let's see what we have. Not much history is what we have, but for the history that we do have, it's good, I guess. I mean, that would be presumably your next higher low. Really not going off of much right here. Probably need to go to a 4-hour to get something that actually is relevant. And okay, so on the 4-hour, we do have a range going on right now. I think I charted this one yesterday. Basically, the same chart is working, so I'll just represent this as a nice little blue box right there, as a bit of a liquid zone. Ultimately, though, I do treat this as a higher low and generally good as long as you're above that pivot at 190. Doesn't mean that you can't come back down there and try to set in a higher low in like the low $2 region. Completely fine. But ultimately, I look at this one as playing out a range and short term fine. But I wouldn't be excited for any sort of major massive breakouts as long as you're below 240 on even an hourly closure probably gets this one. Yeah, I could use an hourly closure in this case. If you do start to take out that level, I do look for this one to retest around your prior highs. And then does it set it up for just a general daily continuation here? Probably yes, but here's the thing. It's just really new chart. So as always, difficult to do much more than that on something that has, this low amount of history. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for that, sir and zer. Let's see. I think Noah Reason is next now. Let Krown know I posted his Trump video on Twitter today and tagged him. I will definitely retweet that, sir. Thank you for that, man. Man, I'm gonna piss off a lot of people with that, because it's like, okay, man, if you want to piss off people, just say the word Biden, and then all of the red team will go like, what the fuck did you just say? What the fuck, man? I thought you were smart. And then if you say Trump, then you got all the people from the blue team. If you just mention the name, they're like, what the fuck? You're racist? Oh my God. I can't believe it. This is a monstrosity.
You are
Put your mask back on, Krown. You suck. It's like, what?
You're also misogynist.
Oh, and also a misogynist. Yes, that is right. I even told Elsa today, sweatpants on girls, not very attractive. But hey, not a big deal, man. Not everyone needs to be attractive. Like, we can have preferences. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Anyways, no reason says ring ring, bring brings in the New Year's. Rose, short term, please. Sirs, I got you, man. Let's pull this one up over here. It's like, next you're going to tell me not liking girls with mustaches is... is misogynistic. Look, you can wear a mustache all you want. I'm just not motivated by that. And look, you could say the same thing about me. You could say I don't like short curly headed fucks. Okay, I'm offended though, but it's okay. Rose, one of the better coins that one of the better ones that we've seen in a while now. I remember we looked at this one yesterday. We said that it was a breakout. I stick with those words. It is a breakout. Short term is a bit of a pullback, or you are a very short term. Sorry, so that's not relevant towards you. Yeah, it can pull back all the way down to your breakout trend line, which is 36.40 cent right there. That's completely fine. I imagine that we probably are building up some bearish divergences on your short-term timeframes. Yes, indeed you are. So, a little bit of short-term sideways and down. But again, this is just higher lows as long as you're above about 36 cent or so. And higher-term timeframes are a breakout here. So I do want to be a little bit more... I know you didn't ask about this timeframe, but I think it's rather important to be aware of where you're on the grand scheme of things. This is just one general uptrend, and one of the better charts that we've seen over the past couple weeks here. Just continues to put in higher highs and higher lows. I'm always going to like that. Short-term, yep, can pull back, no problem. But I'm just looking for higher lows there and probably continuation in the next week or so towards your prior all-time highs, about 47 cents. Very likely pulls back there again on your short-term timeframes and then sets it up for a new trudge towards new all-time highs. Where do I invalidate this one as a bit of a breakout? That would be below your breakout trend line at that 36 cent region. Below there, I do look for this one to go into a corrective phase down to your low 30 cent region. Tentative targets would be, about 31 cents to 32 cents or so if that condition were met. Don't think that that's what's happening, but that's essentially what I'd be thinking right there. And hopefully that was helpful, sir. I think we got Mr. Jack. Mr. Jack, good morning to you, sir. Good morning to you indeed. MATIC USD, the old Polygon here, huh? Yeah, let's pull this one up. Let's see where this one's at. And what do you know? What do you fucking know? It just keeps on going sideways and up. Beautiful chart, man. Beautiful charts typically beget more and more beautiful charts now, don't they? Anyways, should I record this one? Should I not record this one? Fuck it. Might as well record it. Here we have Polygon symbol MATIC going into the end of the year here, so it actually would be wise to be looking at the monthly. I am not necessarily bearish on a monthly that looks like this. Obviously, this very likely sets it up for a good late January 2022, maybe February at latest. But ultimately, barring any sort of catastrophic closure today below, let's say like $2 or even like 2.10, I am looking for this one to continue on into the new year. This is one of the best charts that we've been really following up on for the past few months here, and I imagine that it's going to be continuing to be one of the best charts until it's not. And what would I be looking for on a bit of a daily range? Well, your breakout trend line is right around that 240-ish region for your current move. As long as you're above there, I do treat this as your next higher low in the making. Yes, it is more aggressive as a higher low, but it's okay. We don't necessarily see daily BBWP exactly where I would want to see it on this higher low, but hey, that is okay. All higher term timeframes are bullish here, so perhaps being more aggressive is warranted in this particular case. If we go down to the lower term timeframes, like a 4 hour, bit of a range going on right now, that range being with the highs between about 267 versus your 240 lows. Below 240, I do look for this one to fall back down towards about 220. Again, that's not super problematic for the long term. Just, I'm just looking for higher lows here. I'd even be looking at like 220 as another opportunity, to be quite honest with you, if I was personally trading this one. Of course, this is not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but all higher term timeframes are bullish here. I have no reason to be bearish on this thing at all whatsoever, especially as long as you're above $2. Long term, not long term, but momentum oscillators over here from higher term timeframes and lower term timeframes to see where they're at right now. Daily is still corrective, so I do think that you are going to be playing out a bit of sideways here at minimum, probably a little bit of downside as well, but again, just on higher low lookout, as we're going to be nosediving below about 290, and that's quite far away from where we're currently at. 12 hours should be coming down significantly now. We'll be turning back up above 258, so that is interesting. 4 hours going to be showing what? Is going to be showing upside, but will turn down below 249, which you are kind of at right around, nearing right around now. So if you do start to see that level taken out on a 4 hour closure, probably does reach for one of those more deeper pullback regions on the short-term timeframes. Bi-hourly, same thing, 256, and hourly is also corrective here too, below 254. So basically, you know, I'm probably looking for this one to at minimum go sideways for a little bit of time. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see this one down somewhere around about 215 to 220, but I am just looking at that as your next higher low. Again, all higher term timeframes on this thing are bullish and, well, dare I say, quite good. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Polygon MATIC. Actually, we should talk about long-term targets, I guess, into January or so. I'm still looking at 330 as the next major area where I would be expecting a more prolonged consolidation between about 330, you know, after you hit 330, somewhere between there and about $2.50. And then very long term, let's call it like maybe end of Q1 2022, assuming that, you know, you don't start to take out your last higher lows on your higher term timeframes, you know, could be looking at major moves up towards the $6 to $8 region, actually, which is quite impressive here. So yeah, one of the better charts of 2021, and I suspect that this is going to be one of the ones to watch coming into 2022. Hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Polygon MATIC, sir. And a pleasure as always, man. And I wish you specifically, Mr. Jack, a very happy and healthy 2020 or end of 2021. I think you're probably in Turkey. So are you guys ahead of us in time or not? I would imagine maybe actually not. Maybe not actually. Maybe just an hour or so. Anyways, I think we got Dr. Colossus next. No, we have Nick Ness and then Dr. Colossus. You're looking at XTZ on the 4-hour and daily. Okay, XTZ. This is Tezos. Let's pull this one out. Let's see, what are we doing here? Let's go down to a daily. You said 4-hour and daily. Yeah, okay, yeah, very, very reminiscent of Bitcoin here on the daily, right? So the hopium is that you're putting in a higher low anywhere above about 410 or so. That is still available to you. That does imply that any sort of a closure below $4 even is going to be a lower low and very likely does beget another test somewhere down around your 4th of December lows, I'm guessing. Yeah, that is 4th of December right there. That would be quite devastating. Until then, I think that you got the same sort of hopium as Bitcoin. That's kind of why we talk about Bitcoin typically, because it is going to generally decide the direction of this market, and then altcoins get to follow. So in the same vein as Bitcoin below 45.5 versus versus $52,000 high, the same ranges here would be about $4 versus $5 even. Above $5, I do look for this one to, you know, generally work its way sideways and up back around your prior range highs, which is in the $6 region. This one's like just dollar to dollar, which makes it nice and easy. If we go down to a 4-hour time frame, do we see anything resembling a bit of a short-term low here? Yeah, it is a bit of a short-term low here. How would you confirm a short-term low here on a 4-hour? Back above your short-term range highs, about 451 in this case, and of course, you know, taking out your range lows below about 4.25 would very likely beget a test, not necessarily all the way down to $4, but 415 to 410, and that's kind of like the last chance for love in my opinion for this one. But you do see that volatility is extremely low here on the 4-hour. You're very likely looking at a move today. I imagine you're probably going to see that a little bit after the options expiration or futures expiration coming in. Just I think it's just a little bit more than an hour now. So definitely something to be aware of, and of course, you know, whatever direction Bitcoin chooses, this one very likely follows. Until then, you know, just make it simple, just simplify, go off the range is the way that I kind of be looking at this one, and, you know, pay attention to Bitcoin. Typically speaking, we have Dr. Colossus next. Says Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you as well, ma'am. Can you please check out MIMO? All right, this is a new one. Foreign daily. Okay, MIMO. Mimo, Moomy. Actually, pretty good. Not bad right there. I'm gonna write this one down as well. This is MIMO. What the fuck? Moomy coin. Actually quite good, man, on the daily. I mean, this is just your next I mean, that is a range resolution. This one very likely works way back up towards like 27.5 to 28 cents, somewhere right around here is where I'd be looking towards. I would get a lot more excited above about 29 cents on a daily for at minimum another retest of your 42-cent highs. Doesn't look like much on log scale, but it is. It certainly is, and very likely new highs after that. Where does this one start to fall apart in the short term? Well, that would be obviously below your range lows right here, which is 16.25. Below there, a little bit of short-term problems, but you still have higher lows as long as you're above about 10 cents. So I do think at worst this one's going sideways, but for right now it's actually showing short-term sideways and up. So I would be a little more lenient on something like this. Yeah, I don't really have a reason to be looking for a correction here as long as above about 16.25. So until then, I'm actually biased towards short-term continuation towards the top side of this region right here. Probably does pull back from it, but ultimately, again, another one that's kind of setting up for a decent, it would seem, Q1 of 2022 is what I'm trying to say. Maybe we just briefly check it out over here. I just want to see if things do kind of agree with what that was, because this is just a completely new one that I've never even heard of before. And yeah, what do you know? Daily momentum is up as long as above 19 cents. sense. Good. So for right now, you do kind of see that as governing your short term. 12-hour is 20.5 cents, which you are just barely above, but again, looking good. 4-hour is also above 20 cents. So a lot of things pivoted around this region, as is the buy hourly. And I'm going to guess that the hourly is as well. 19, yeah, basically 20 cents right there. Everything runs on 20 cents. I'm biased towards this one actually popping back up towards a quarter and probably continuing over time, man. One of the better charts that we're probably going to see today, to be honest with you, man. Very interesting, man, and thank you for pulling that one out. I think we have Crescent next. He says, hey, Krown, OSMO on the daily. Okay. Another new one. I've never heard of this one before. OSMO, okay. Osmosis, cool name. On CoinX, okay. This is not going to work on a daily, man. It's been around for less than just over a week now. Not great, man. So I think best I could do is not even a 4-hour, but maybe an hourly. Even then, the hourly is just not even helpful right here. I don't have an opinion on this chart, man. I have to shoot you straight. A healthy amount. If I don't know, it's the proper answer for something like this. I do not fucking know, and I do not feel comfortable doing any sort of realistic analysis on something that is this new. You know, realistically, I want to see, like, if I'm looking at a fucking hourly, I want to see like at least a couple months of price action, to be honest with you. But looking at this right here, if I had to call it, I do think it comes back down and tries for a higher low somewhere around about 569, just because it's a good number. Other than that, I do not have an opinion on this chart. You know, above 640, great for an hourly, not necessarily a daily. Below 531, obviously very bad. Other than that, I know this is not helpful, but this is just, I don't have a helpful opinion on a chart like this. I'm afraid. So I'll just leave that right there, man. Hopefully that was in some way helpful. I fear that it was not very much, but it's best that I can do for something like that. Anyway, see, Dissynthetic says, yo, Krown, you gonna stop calling Elsa sir in this new year? Probably not. No, thank you, sir. Anyways, Jake, what? Mr. Aurora, where I do not see Mr. Aurora. Oh, yes, I see him there. Okay, gotcha. FTX 1 and 4. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. Okay, apologies on that one. Here we go. Why? Oh, it's FTT coin. Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, a little bit tricky there, but it is simple FTT, of course. You're looking at a 1 and 4, so very low term time frames. Gotcha. Actually looking like to put in a bit of a higher low right here. Short term looking for it to move back up towards just shy of 40 bucks, like 39 and 3/4. 4-hour is very interesting, however. 4-hour is actually very interesting right here. So if you do pop back above about 40.35 on a 4-hour, I actually would call this a local low confirmed with a higher low in place, and you very likely work your way up at minimum towards 41.15, maybe even just continue onwards from there, as that would be, and I know you didn't ask for this time frame, but that would be a higher low on the daily. Very similar structure here on the daily to Bitcoin, where your relevant regions for the daily, 44.25 to the upside versus 37.5 to the downside. Short term, it is showing a little bit of upside, I would say, but just be aware that if it does start to clear these regions, I think that this one probably runs, and you probably see Bitcoin do the same thing as well. You're starting to see volume start to take up on this one here too, so people are getting more and more interested at this region, and that would be presumably your next higher low. I actually quite like that. Obviously invalidation below about in the very short term below 38.5. Until then, I mean, dare I say it, I think most things are probably going to rally from here. You see a bit of a trappity trap situation. All right, I think we have Mr. Or who do we? Okay, Crypto Genesis TV. Hello, sir. What's up, man? Dusk USD. Okay, just one at a time. All right, we can maybe do 2 of these just because. All right, just one. Yeah, we do have to be a bit more stringent with the rules here. Anyways, and please do read the pinned message, as it explains kind of how we handle these streams here. It's just we have to be very stringent with those rules, because otherwise shit gets weird and it typically doesn't end too well. Anyways, you're looking at a daily. Okay, daily. Gotcha. Again, another one of the better charts. Here. In fact, I remember we looked at this one last week and said it was pretty damn good, and I think we looked at it yesterday again as well, and I said probably a move back around 115. I still am kind of biased towards that. I still think that you get at least one more try up there before your next sort of short-term consolidation at minimum. Looking at a 4-hour, I know you didn't ask about it, but I'm just curious for my own self. It just looks like another higher low right there. Could correct down to 80 cents. That's not problematic. I'm very likely looking at this one giving at least one more try towards like 115-ish region, and then probably a bit of a short-term pullback from there. Problem is with this one is that long-term, this is your macro, or it's not a problem obviously, but this is good. This is a long-term breakout right here, but I am seeing that you are hitting extremes on daily BBWP, so I'm a little bit more I'd be a little more conservative with calling like any major continuation targets here until you actually do close successfully above that 115 region. At that point, I actually would, I guess I would extend targets towards like, it's going to sound fucking crazy, but basically around $1.50 or so if that condition is met. Until then, I'm still biased towards the upside here. I see no reason to be looking for even, you know, a medium-term correction as long as you're above 80 cents. That does imply that you can come back down to 80 cents and put in a higher low there. Until then, all higher-term timeframes continue to be bullish, and I should be looking at minimum towards move towards 115 and then come back to it after that. So hopefully that was helpful, and there you go, sir. Cool. All right. Okay, we got that one. I think it's Jake Anderson next. Says Ethereum, Bitcoin on the 4 hour and daily. Are you bullish on this thing going into Q1 2022? Yeah, okay. Let's go to this one over here. Are we continuing to hold the 7.8 million Satoshi region? It is. So my rule is I have to remain bullish on this one as long as that condition is met. Now, don't get me wrong. It's real fucking close to a downside resolution there, man. But that is kind of the point of maximum financial opportunity, to be fair, and not necessarily because it's guaranteed to put in a local low here and works way back up, but because you do have a very obvious risk management point, which is just below the low side of the range, same areas before, 7.8 million Satoshis. It's given plenty of tests there, but you know, this is your first pullback to the 55 after your major breakout. It is on declining volatility, so this, you know, theoretically is still a setup here. I suppose I have to say yes, I am bullish on this one as long as that condition is met. 7.8 million Satoshis is absolutely fucking critical on this one. However, below there, I do look for bigger corrections down to 7.3, maybe even more over time, but at least 7.3 to 7.35 region. Until then, I do still treat this one as, you know, your next major low. Yes, it's not the most it's not the most pretty in the short-term time frames chart of all time. I have too many trend lines here representing the exact same area, so I'm just going to put this one right there and get rid of everything else. My LARP line's still working on this one, but I don't want to give you false hopium. Again, closing below 7.8 million Satoshis, that the hopium for Q1 of 2022 is over, and I do look for this one to correct down to your low 7 million Satoshi regions. Until then, you know, I do look at this from my rule set as likely to put in your next higher low right here and continue on into Q1 of 2022 with targets up towards, you know, well, some pretty major targets, I guess, up towards 10 million Satoshis or 10 point. Is that 10.10? What is that number right there? That is 10,972,000 Satoshis is what I'm trying to say. And again, you know, we are coming into the last day here of the month. So what does quarterly look like? Quarterly is still generally good in my opinion. So yeah, I actually would be bullish coming into Q1 of 2022, assuming that that condition is specifically not met. I should not be bearish on this, and I should be looking for general upside on the macro. Specifically, that is. Okay, cool. Okay, we got that. I think we have Jack Jansen next. Says, hey, Krown, wishing you and Elsa well. Wishing you both well as well, man. If I could maybe even speak properly, that'd be good as well. Anyways, you're looking at near BTC on the 4 hour. Gotcha. Okay, near BTC. I did Jake Anderson. Okay, you're looking at I'm guessing a 4 and daily, but oh no, you're looking at near BTC. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Still one of the better charts. Yeah, this one I remember from yesterday vividly. I'm still looking at this one as a big bad breakout. You just got your first sort of short-term correction there. That's fine. In fact, if we go down to the lower term timeframes, I would still actually be aware that you could very easily come back down just around 2,900 Satoshis, and that would just be another higher low. You are starting to put in many drives of bearish divergence on your lower term timeframes, but again, do not confuse lower term timeframes like a 4 hour with your daily. The daily is still generally bullish here. It's just, you know, you might see a bit of a short-term correction. I have to be long-term bullish on this one, looking for, I guess, significantly new highs on this. You know, as long as you're above that breakout point, which is 2350, sorry, let's say 2400 Satoshis. You know, long term on any sort of a closure above about 3600 Satoshis, I actually do look for this one to go on a pretty massive run towards the 5000s. Yeah, mid 5,000s actually, which is kind of crazy right there. But for right now, on the shorter term timeframes, you know, a bit of a short term correction is fine. All higher term timeframes continue to be bullish, and I generally look towards those regions in the next month and a half, as long as you remain above specifically. Well, especially 2550, but I'd say 2400. Just kind of cut those ones to the middle and make it a little bit more simple right there. Something like this. Actually, you know, we could just use 2500. 2500 Satoshis going to be the big bad invalidation for that one. Until then, just short-term corrections, long-term continuation. Quite good. Quite good indeed, sir. Let's see. All right. Felix? Where? What? Oh, there we go. FTLX. Gotcha. Okay. Hey, happy new year to you as well, man. CRV. Okay. Yep. No problem. Curve. This one as well, one of the better charts that we've been following up on for like, it seems like months now, but well, has it been months? Yeah, it has. It actually has, going all the way back to October, in fact. Hey, what do you know? Your next higher low right there, at least on a 4-hour. Daily, same thing as well. I'm bullish, man. I'm bullish. Again, one of the best charts that we've been following on for a while now. I would move up your next major invalidation for long-term bullishness below 455. I'm looking for this one to give another run towards $6.50 and then into 2022. Probably somewhere around $10 for the next major move. Confirmed above with a daily closure about six. Let's just call it 645. It's still really, really good. I mean, it's among the best charts in cryptocurrency land. 4-hour, same invalidation here as well, just below your 455 region. It would be problematic, would imply a deeper correction down towards 410 to 420 or so. Until then, this one very likely continues from here, actually, on all time frames. Yeah. You know, among some of the better charts, again, we pull back into a higher low with declining volatility, and you see that momentum oscillators actually do put in what should be a little bit of bullish evidence right there, but ultimately the result is the same. Very likely does trade sideways and up from here. You know, one of the, again, a very, very healthy correction right there. Just taking time, man, which is fine. You know, more and more time spent on the corrections and consolidations likely does lead towards a more impressive resolution and result. There we go. All right, sweet. Yeah, man. I do humbly request that if you are requesting things, please do read the pinned message. It'll tell you. It'll kind of give you a quick rundown of how we do things here, because I knew that we got a lot of new people as well, which is cool. Just make sure that you understand, you know, what's going on here. Anyways, I'll do Ricky O. He's got, can I please have Ethereum USD on the 4-hour daily? Yeah. Yeah. Let's pop this one over here. Okay. It should record Ethereum. Yeah, we should actually. We have Ethereum versus the dollar. And here's the thing with Ethereum in general. Right now, do I think that's one of the strongest charts? No. However, whatever Bitcoin does, this one very likely mirrors. And I do still think that Bitcoin has a bit of hopium right here with putting in a major low. Now, Ethereum has bounced off our 3,600 level rather well, which doesn't mean all that much for the higher term timeframes. Again, where is your big bad area to be aware of on Ethereum specifically for the time being? The same areas before, 4130. As long as we're below there, it's the same thing as Bitcoin below $52,000. Can't get excited about any sort of major massive breakouts. I guess the more pertinent hopium would be taking out of this declining trend line right here that has been governed on the last 1, 2, 3 highs. That would be currently at about 3950. Do understand though that well, I don't usually see great results with those things, but you know, if you want to be a little more aggressive, I guess that's the area that you're working for in comparison to 4130 in this case. Just like Bitcoin below 45,500 on a daily closure, I do look for it to fall apart quite significantly. The same area for Ethereum would be relevant towards 3600, implying moves back down towards your 33 to 3400 base over time, or anywhere around your 4th of December wick lows right here, which is actually a little bit higher than that now that I realize it. More around like 3350 to 3450, basically just $50 higher than those ranges. Shorter term time frames like a 4-hour do imply a little bit of upside here. So again, I do think that there's some short-term hopium. However, where does your short-term time frame resolution have for the range? That'd be back above about 3822. If you do hit that region, or sorry, do clear above that region, I do look for this one to actually test officially the 3950-ish region. And then of course, you know, that would be, I guess, your next sort of hopium region for the higher term time frames, which can be, I guess, a little more impressive. Here's the thing though, whatever Bitcoin does, this one very likely follows. And I'm curious if we have any sort of obvious signals going on here on your higher term time frame. So I haven't really checked just yet. Okay, we pulled back into not a higher low right here, but technically speaking, it is a falling channel. So these do statistically get broken out to the upside more than the downside. But the problem with falling channels, and the problem with falling pizzas, and the problem with just general patterns that have a downside slope, even though they are more often than not resolved to the upside than the downside, the problem is until you do put in first your higher low, and then specifically taking out your prior lower high, it's really unwise to be calling for a major reversal just yet, because a lot of the time what will happen is you'll just get walked infinitely down these channels like this, and that can happen, obviously. But hey, you know, I think Bitcoin is just the more easy thing to be watching for, hoping right here, because if Bitcoin pulls through, you're very likely going to see Ethereum pull through as well. I think Bitcoin has a little bit of a better setup in comparison to Ethereum. So, you know, if you want the hopium, I think it's best to watch Bitcoin in this case. If we do go over here to momentum oscillators, I'm curious what lower term timeframes are looking like right now. We do see 4-hour Stokes are actually vertical above 36.74, so currently good. 3-hour is also going to be vertical above 3,700, so also generally good as well. Bi-hourly is 37.45, so right there actually, and hourly is 37.20. So generally speaking, short-term timeframes are pointed up, which is, you know, more on the good side than the bad side, as is the 6-hour, and I imagine the 12-hour is just about to freshly cross up today with any sort of closure above 36.44, and then the daily, I imagine, is still nosediving below 40.50. So it is still on the higher term timeframes corrective at best. Shorter term timeframes, yes, I do think that you test a little bit further up. And then the question is, do you clear above these critical regions for the short-term timeframes, that being 38.20? If you do, then, well, I think it's going to have a chance. You probably see Bitcoin pull through at the same time as well, if that's going to happen. And then, hey, let's talk about, you know, some more fun things, which would be what to expect if you actually do take the upside resolution here, which will be fully confirmed above 4130, more preemptively confirmed, I guess, above on a daily closing basis, this 3950-ish region right here. Well, I would be looking for a general run back around your 45 to 4600 prior highs, and probably beyond from there. Again, we are coming into the last day of this month and year, and so I suppose it would be relevant to be looking at the monthly right here. And to be fair, there is some major bearish divergence formulating right there, which will be confirmed with any sort of a closure below about 3850, in fact. So that 3850 region perhaps could be a front runnable area for the higher term timeframes. Let's maybe go over here as well, just to see what Ethereum looks like on this chart, and just out of curiosity. And well, not great, but we're just going to ignore that one for right now. So I'll just kind of leave that out for right now, and then ultimately just be aware of where those major areas are. You know, if they do start to get taken out to the upside, well, I think that hopium for a great Q1 2022 remains alive, and we start to talk about targets towards, you know, 50,000 plus and all that good stuff. So hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Ethereum, sir. And then also Luna. Yeah, Luna on the 4-hour daily is the next one. Okay, gotcha. Let's pop this one up over here. Let's see, Luna. Weird one right here. This one's definitely worth recording. Let's see, how does the monthly look? Yeah, okay, there we go. Here we have Terra Luna, symbol LUNA versus the dollar. Again, another one of the better charts of the year 2021. So I always want to be focusing on the highest term timeframes when you do have a, you know, a monthly and yearly close like this. And for what it's worth, this is, you know, among the best. It's closing on the highs, closing on yield highs for what it's worth, which is typically quite a lot. Daily over here still is working on higher lows. Now I think this is a little bit more aggressive to be looking for a higher low at this $80 region, but you know, it's been working for us for a while now, and I still kind of look at it as the same. So short-term timeframes will resolve if you're on like a 4-hour or even a 12, or basically any short-term timeframes will be resolved and confirm a range resolution to the upside with any sort of a closure above 88.60, basically $88.50. I would be looking for this one to return back up towards the mid 90s to somewhere between about $95 to $100. That's kind of the next area that I have a little bit of short-term caution on this one. And then of course, if you do see a range resolution to the downside, which would be had basically anywhere below on a 4-hour closing lower low than about $81 or $80 even, then I would be looking for this one to fall all the way down to about $70. That would probably be in line with Bitcoin failing its 45,500-ish region. If you were to see something like that happen, you probably see something similar like this on Luna. But again, one of the stronger charts. So if Bitcoin does show strength, if Bitcoin does push on through and bust on through, especially let's say $48,000, you probably see Luna do something similar with confirming its next higher low right here, popping back above that $88.50 resolution for the short-term timeframes, initiating moves back up towards your, let's just say $100 highs, setting it up for a really, really good Q1 of 2022. You know, tentative targets into the 120 to 130-ish region would be the next sort of areas of interest for me to the upside. Until then, again, one of the better charts here, just you know, whichever direction Bitcoin chooses, this one very likely follows, but going to be a lot more powerful to the upside and probably not going to be as bad to the downside. I just want to briefly see where we're at right now. And yeah, daily stochastic momentum is still corrective as long as we're below about $1.03. But you will notice that we do have a nice trend line here kind of defending against the edge of the bullish control zone. So I do think that that warrants a bit of consideration. As long as this thing does trade sideways above that current $80 region, you will inevitably start to test that. And that's going to look a lot better for putting in a more aggressive higher low. 4-hour Stokes are also vertical above about $84. Buy hourly is going to be showing upside above where? Above 85, which you're currently $1.30 above. And hourly is going to be showing what? Is going to be showing nothing because it's not loading. $86, which you're currently right around. And I'm just curious. Oh, and the 12 hour is actually going to freshly turn up above 85.35. So you do see a lot of things kind of pivoted around that $85 number. I suppose, you know, as long as you do kind of remain above there, it is more in a powerful posturing for the short term. But I just be aware of where those resolutions are because Bitcoin is dancing around a little bit right now. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Terra Luna, sir. All right, nice one, man. Let's see. What do we have over here? I think Crypto Genesis TV is next. He has KDA USD on the daily. Gotcha. Okay, this is Kaderpa. But I think last we looked at this, it wasn't too bad. Yeah. Actually having a very aggressive and I wouldn't say aggressive, just a generally good consolidation right here on the daily. Actually, on the daily, putting in a higher low right at a level at about 12.25. I have to respect this level right here as still likely putting in, I guess, a higher low with targets back up towards your prior range highs at about $18. As long as it just doesn't break below, let's call it 12.25, below 12.25. And again, you're probably going to see Bitcoin break down if this level doesn't hold as well. You're probably going to see a move back down around your $9.50 to $9 even lows. I'd still just be looking for bounces around that region. You know, this thing is generally going to be good on the higher term time frame as long as you're oscillating between $9 and $18. It's just it can take some time. Remember, we hit major extremes here on daily BBWP twice, and realistically, I want to see BBWP start to trend down significantly, realistically to single digits before I look for the next sort of potential major trending move. And in this case, you know, this can take many forms, but basically what I'm saying is something like this, you know, maybe gives another try up there and then comes back down and something like that. And you know, maybe over the next month or so, if you see that, that's going to look really, really good. But for now, I am still inclined to say that it is corrective at best. And I would not be calling any sort of range resolutions to the upside as long as it's below $18. Above $18, fucking great, man. This thing very likely retests prior all-time highs and continues on from there for, you know, new all-time highs into early 2022. If not, and if you do take out the median of the range, I'm just looking for higher lows around your low $9 region, and then come back to it after that. I do not get bearish on something like this, which is one of the better charts. To be fair, as long as you're above $9, below $9, I do look for this one to retest. It's that 4th of December? No, it's actually 19th of December. What the fuck happened right there, man? But basically somewhere down around about $6 if that were to happen. Don't think that that's what's happening right here, but overall, you know, okay. And then I think we got Crypto Genesis again, actually. He's got one USD, okay. Yeah, in KDA for a weekly, I see your comment right there. I mean, it's basically the same range, 18 versus about 9.25 right there. You know, I still look at this one as generally good, just corrective for right now. I mean, this one even hit extremes on the weekly BBWP. This one very likely spent some time going sideways, if I had to guess. But long-term good, again, is above $9. One of the better charts, actually, to be paying attention to. Okay, one USD on the daily and weekly as well. Another one of the decent-ish charts, I would say. Generally goes up and to the right, as you can see. But this one has a much greater range. Let's see, what does the daily look like? Yeah, and daily's kind of already losing a bit of its current range, it does look like. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make this one nice and simple. And I'll give it kind of the benefit of the doubt right here. I would be using 2140 as... I mean, we did have this one charted out before, and I was saying about 21.5, I think. Yeah, I was saying 21.5. Yeah, right here. Actually, that is the low. Okay, well, whatever. Below 21.5, kind of same thing as Cadena, right? I do look for it to fall down, you know, rather significantly, but just towards your prior range lows, somewhere around about 18 cents. And this one would still be good long term. I mean, this is still just, you know, one complex major higher low. And by the same contrast as Cadena to the upside, above your current weekly highs at about 28.5 cents, I do look for this one to retest prior all-time highs and very likely, you know, go on a new all-time high rally into early 2022 as well. Monthly is... You know, this is one hell of a wick. You know, you've kind of already played out what would have been that bearish divergence on the monthly RSI as well. So, you know, when I see a wick like this, that is, you know, going to be indicating a lot of strength here. The question is, do we come back down to 18 cents first, or does this one bust on through 28.5 to 29 cents to the upside first? You know, to be, man, let's see. What about a 5-day? Maybe this one's a little more helpful. I honestly, if I was just looking at this chart, I actually do think it falls down to 18 cents first, to be honest with you. But how, you know, where can you use a lower term time to kind of judge this one? I guess on a 4-hour closure, even below about 21.5 cent, I would confirm the downside move first rather than putting in a higher low right here. By the same contrast, I would say that it's more likely to test your current range highs at 28.5 cent with any sort of a 4-hour closure above 24 cents specifically. Until then, that's kind of how to play the short-term time frame ranges. Daily, you know, you already know where I'm going with that one. Long term, still generally good here, just, you know, going to be taking its time. Bi-weekly is not really giving me too much, but long term good. I mean, again, long term good here. Just, I do think that I do think that it takes a bit of time.
Can you put that chat on slow mode in the middle of the stream?
It is on slow mode, but I can, yeah, it's on 5 seconds, but I can maybe try something else. Let me see. All right, so we'll have to put, yeah, I can make it like 10 seconds. 10 seconds between chats. Right now it's 5 seconds. All right, I'll do that. Is it like too busy right now or something? Or all right, well, I'll just change it right there. All right, well, I changed it to 10 seconds. I mean, that should be fine anyways, man. All right, cool. There you go. All right, sweet. Okay, good over there, good over there. Let's see, where did I leave off? I think we have ACM Lad next, and he is next, actually. All right, Mr. ACM Lad. Hey, Krown, can you check out Floki Inu? I mean, for the love of fucking God. To understand if I'm going to stay a virgin forever in my mother's basement, a virgin or a vegan, sir? That's the real question. Floki. Look, I don't actually care about people's culinary choices. It's all good. It's all good. Eat whatever the fuck you want to eat. No time frames given, but all time frames bad. All time frames bad, sir. Terrible chart. Absolutely god-awful chart as long as you are below 16,400. We just need one trend line right here. As long as you're below this, bad. Very fucking bad. Mom's basement and being a fucking virgin for the rest of my life, eating only green leaves and shit. It's bad, man. It's real bad. But look, if Bitcoin bounces, do I expect this one to bounce with it? Maybe a little bit, but probably doesn't break the downtrend. Look, these are meme coins. When you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, as the Texas saying goes. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or rude towards you as a person, but as a chart, terrible chart. God-awful chart right here. Just pumps up once, gives it back over the next few months here. There's no actual buying interest on something like this. All rallies fail, and all lower highs are lower highs, sir. Below 16,500, nothing bullish about this thing at all whatsoever. You have no reversals to be speaking about. And even then, man, you got to fight the... You gotta fight the unfortunate reality that this is indeed a meme coin. So the biggest hoping for this is just another pump and dump, which, hey, pump and dumps do, you know, give you multiple iterations of those pump phases, but they always dump out. And, you know, unless if the broad market really gets going here, I don't think that it's time to be looking for meme coins to be doing anything interesting to the upside for like a sustained move. Just these one-offs right here, but ultimately, very likely more of the same. Again, if Bitcoin falls down here, this thing is very likely to see its next bounce somewhere around about 7,000 or 7,500, not even Satoshis, just tenths of a dollar or hundredths of a dollar, I guess. Really awful, really awful chart right there. And also a little bit too new as well, as Bitcoin kind of coughs up its current little bouncy bounce. Bitcoin. Don't do it now. We're coming right into expiration, by the way, as well. We got 38 minutes left to go until expiration, I do believe. Let's see. Probably should give it one more try towards this end of the blue box territory yet again. In fact, that'd be a rather interesting thing to kind of be being aware of. So I'm going to put in a little bit of an alert right there just to see if we get there on this stream. Do we see a bit of a bouncy bounce? If we do, that would be interesting, I do suspect. But a lot of the time, you will see this sort of more aggressive price action coming into the end of expiration, especially on a big one like today. So just want to see if, well, there might be a bit of an edge right there. Anyways, let's see. We got Cryptogenesis TV yet again. Hello, sir. Good morning to you. Mina. Okay. Mina? Mina. Mina is Finnish, sir. Mina olen attic. And that you have to say it with a very respectful Finnish accent as well. But it's just like the same as if you speak Spanish. You speak with a Spanish accent. You don't try to I'm just being respectful towards your language. What the fuck did I just hear? Whoa. Okay, Elsa just dropped the fucking R word. I'm not... Unbelievable. I can't believe we're together. This is embarrassing. Probably means it in the scientific sense. 8 hour. Okay, we can look at an 8 hour. I don't really care for the 8 hour chart, to be honest with you. But we can look at it. You know, it's your call, man. 8 hour daily, 5 day weekly. There ain't gonna be a 5 day on something this new. Barely, probably even a daily, if I had to guess. Mina. 3.25, you know, is kind of your downside range resolutions. At minimum, probably testing your $3 lows after that, and you know, very likely get another pity bounce right there. I think the daily is probably the biggest hopium right here. Daily is putting in a higher low right here for what it's worth, but where would you confirm this as a higher low? Not until you get back above your range highs. Similar to Bitcoin, back above $52,000. Can't get excited about it until this one gets back above about $4, even actually above $4. I do look for this one at minimum to put a nice move towards your prior range highs, about 450 to 455. Probably works its way upwards and onwards from there over time as well. Problem is, if you do take out that presumably higher low, well, you're probably going to bounce again at about $3 or so, but I don't think it's going to be anything more than a bounce. Probably does come back down towards your last like major lows here at about $2.50 before your next pity bounce. If you do really want to look at a 5 day or a weekly, I don't have an opinion on this chart, nor certainly not a weekly as well. It does look like it's trying to put in a higher low right there for what it's worth. Just it's very unwise in my experience to be analyzing a chart like that with that little of history. I mean, even the 12 hour is probably the more reasonable chart here, and wouldn't be surprised to see this one retest about 3.25, but I refrain actually from calling this one a failure until you're below 3.25. Below 3.25 is problems. Above 3.25 is probably a higher low. Confirmation again above $4. That is probably what you're more waiting for, I'm guessing, just based off of your comment right there. Ooh, apologies. Instead of an 8 hour, I actually think that a 6 hour is like significantly more interesting. And what do you know? 6 hour could be putting in a higher low right here. Volatility is starting to decline, but not exactly where I want to be seeing it right there. Again, simplify. 3.25 versus $4. Above 4, good. Below 3.25. Not so good, sir. Not so good. Nimbo says, please, sir, one month BBWP to Hopium pipe. Yeah, I mean, you already know where I'm going with this one. You've been paying attention, sir. But yeah, we can go over it. By the way, happy last day of 2021 to you, Mr. Nimbo. And by the way, man, you are in the future, so you're probably very close to the end of the day as well. Anyways, what are you basically going off of right here? You're basically going off of the monthly BBWP, which anytime we have gotten to extremely low levels, we're talking like below 20 percentile, it has been macro low. So I did actually miss this in my journal analysis, although I kind of wanted to avoid the monthly. But for what it's worth, the last time we saw extremely low BBWP, where was that? Coming out of the last major monthly base, obviously, and in March 2020. So that was just a straight upside move from about 8,000, 9,000 to 65,000. Time before that, that we saw very low BBWP was coming off of the macro lows right here in December 2018. And the time before that was obviously your August 2015 macro lows right here. Keep in mind, though, it can stay low for a while. I mean, shit, man, it stayed low. Relatively speaking, for about 1, 2, 3, 4 months before really getting going in 2015. And same thing over here in 2020, as you can see, spent about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months relatively low before really getting that next expansive move. So could we see some wicks down in like a more desperate situation to the mid to low $30,000 territory? Yeah, I think that becomes very, very reasonable to be looking for if Bitcoin destroys its weekly higher low at 41,000. Until then, yeah, definitely more on the hopium side right there. It's just please understand that also can come alongside of a very nasty downside move as well and still hold to fruition, which is problematic, especially if you're looking at these things on leverage. Anyways, let's pull this one back on over here. I see second hour watches. Appreciate that emoticon. What the fuck is that, though, by the way? It's a pink face? You think what?
I think someone called us scammers.
Someone called us scammers. Okay, well, fair enough. Okay, super chat scammers. Sir, Matt, we can't, look, we have limited time. So if you put yourself in our shoes, if people are donating money to read some sort of a chat, what would you do? Would you disregard them and focus on just your request for whatever shitcoin that you're looking for? Be reasonable about this, please. And if not, well, fair enough. It's the internet, so what can you do? The Saturn Epoch says Rose USD. I think we did that one, but you're saying you want to look at some fibs. We can pull up a fib extension on this one. Need to plan profit taking, as also I'm soon to 7 figures. Fucking nice, man. Holy shit. And you're from Vanta. What the hell? You're from Vanta? Let us know. Let us know. It's actually not snowing here, but it is rather slippery outside. Cool, man. I thought that you were Estonian for some reason, but 4 hour and 12 hour. Elsa says, why would you live in Vanta? I'm pretty sure that you used to. I mean, okay, well, you worked there or something, right? Okay, worked there. Well, whatever. Work, live, whatever. You know, your next one is actually directly in line with your prior highs on this one. Your prior all-time high is actually at about 47 cents. If you're looking for like the very deep ones, which, you know, look, this is, again, one of the better charts here. I'd be looking somewhere between about 65 to 70 cents or so. So, yeah. BK, we already got CRV, so we are good there. Still among the best charts. Actually, in fact, probably one of the more interesting ones that I should probably own myself, but I don't. Let's see. John Brooks says VRA, daily, weekly, 6 hour. Okay. And Happy New Year's to you as well. LARP line still working on this one. Big problems below 3.25. Until then, I still treat it as higher lows. I guess similar to Bitcoin, of course. If you're looking at a 6 hour, what do we have right here? Let me actually fix that. There we go. Same thing as Bitcoin, right? I do think that you could be a little more aggressive than where I had that range resolution before and put it somewhere around about 4.3 cent. Above there, I do look for this one to retest somewhere back around your major dumpola from 3rd of December, that being about 5.5 to maybe even 6 cents overall. It just generally start to look pretty damn good above that region, as this would be your next like macro higher low in this case. If you're on a weekly, same thing as well. You're kind of basing off the 55, which is good. You do have some hidden bullish divergence, and you are kind of coming off of low BBWP reads. So, you know, the weekly does say that if you do take out even the short-term time frame range highs, probably does work its way back up towards your prior highs, actually, over time, you know, into maybe like late January 2022. But hey, breaking below your low side structure at about 3 cents. Big red dildos. Next bouncy area would be about basically about 2.5 cents, but well, 2.5 cents probably bounce, and then hope that the bounce is a reversal, I guess. But I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. Again, you know, whatever direction Bitcoin chooses here, this one's very likely going to follow, and Bitcoin coughing up a little bit of its short-term rally right there as it puts in yet again another lower high on even the hourly. Let me take a sippy sip of this, and then we'll move on. Sirs and Zers. Yeah, that was John Brooks, and we did. Yeah, we should probably close them. I think they're already kind of built up a little bit too much. So I want to make sure that I can get to everyone. Super chat scammers. There we go. All right. I wrecked Uranus says, butter my bread, Krown. No problem, Mr. Uranus. How about Link on the daily and weekly, my friend? Sure. Yeah, no one really asked about Link no more. Yeah, I got, let me just pin this really quickly here. There we go. And so we'll read all of the messages that were put in before this moment, but we will not be able to do anyone's after this moment, unfortunately, because we're scamming right now. Anyways, this one is starting to look a lot more interesting on a weekly, but man, I don't doubt that it wouldn't put another wick down somewhere around like 17.5 or so. So Link is actually starting to look a lot more interesting here from like a long-term structure perspective. Any sort of a weekly basically back above this weekly's high at about 24.70, and I would be looking for this one to return significantly up, trade significantly up towards your prior range highs, with a short-term stop somewhere around about 28.25, but very likely long-term targets towards about $30.50 or so. You know, you are starting to see the etchings of what would be a bit of a higher low going on right here. And this is a very sloppy version of reaccumulation, but you do kind of see this every once in a while in cryptocurrency land as well. It's cryptocurrency land. What invalidates this one as a potential major low on the weekly? Any sort of a closing lower low than that $17.50 region. But again, I wouldn't put it past it to actually put in another wick down somewhere around there, maybe more like 18.5 or so. Monthly, I just want to see here as well. Yeah, not a humongous fan of the monthly, but you know, until you actually get that closure below your range lows, I wouldn't be looking for like the next major washout move. If you do get that, again, you're probably going to see it on Bitcoin as well. If it is going to happen, you're probably looking at targets down towards $15 with your next major bounce implied there. Let's see, do we have any obvious signals going on right here? No, not really. 4 hour maybe. 4 hours shows a little bit of short-term downside. Probably does retest your 19.25 cent lows. doesn't really mean much for your higher term timeframes, however. And I would even call a range resolution to the upside on all timeframes, actually, even with a 4-hour closure above your current highs, about 24.5. That would look really, 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 really good here. So what I'm kind of looking for right now is I'm looking for maybe a short term, another wick down around here. Maybe even closes a little bit slightly lower than that, but you actually will have potential regular bullish divergence come off that low. So I don't know if you're concerned with the lower term timeframes, the higher term timeframes. I think there's more higher term timeframes in this case. I actually do think that there's some hopium on this one. I just want to briefly check it out from this angle here, just to see if maybe your higher term timeframe momentum oscillators are starting to, well, maybe not so much. 23.5 is a magical number on the daily right there. So it's still kind of sideways and corrective at best on your higher term timeframes. I imagine 12-hour will turn up above 21.14, which you are nowhere near right now, unfortunately. And 4-hour will turn down below 1963 again. Not the best, although you technically are above there right now. And hourly is going to turn down if you do close 4 cents below where you're, or basically, unless you close about 3 cents above where you're currently at right now. So when I go to the other higher term timeframes, like a weekly, I mean, this one has corrected quite a fair bit. I'm a lot more inclined to say it probably does put another wick down around your current lows and then tries for, another major low right there. Kind of similar to Bitcoin here. So the hopium still remains alive, but, we really do not want to see this area taken out today. Otherwise, you're probably going to see all market come down. All markets come down, baby. All market coming down. All right, let's see. Buttering my bread. I like it, man. I like it a lot. All right, I think we have Adil M next. He says Ethereum dominance. Okay, we can look at Ethereum dominance. I do want to preface this conversation by saying I don't know how much I trust dominance in general, just because it's very easy to make new shitcoins. Pretty much costs nothing, and anyone can do it, quite simply from my understanding. It's a lot better to be looking at sectors, because we actually do have sectors to, sector indices kind of be looking at now as courtesy from FTX. Anyways, you're looking at weekly, monthly, 22 outlook.
Was the previous one you did Rect Uranus?
Yeah, I Rect Uranus was the previous one. I mean, it basically looks, it looks kind of similar to an Ethereum chart just in general here. I don't know, man. I don't know. Short term, I'm looking at this one as likely to pop back up here. But if you're asking for like 2022 outlook, need to come up with something a little bit better way of doing this. Again, I just don't trust this metric that much. I guess just like on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart and the Ethereum USD chart, the hopium is that you're setting higher lows here above about 19.5%. You're just going to float your way upwards and onwards into 2022. That's the hopium. That also implies that your hopium gets invalidated below this right here, and you very likely see this one correct down all the way towards 17.25 or so. I really don't know on this because I don't trust indicators on something like this. Yes, you do a bearish divergence all the way through, but I just don't think that it works, man, because of all the confounding factors and variables, that go into a calculation like this. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't think it's as relevant as just the price action charts themselves. But if I did have to call it, I guess you treat this area right here as a higher low until proven otherwise. That would be proven otherwise below about 19.25 to 19.30. At that point, I look for big corrections down to 17.20, and I guess that means that Ethereum gets soaked up by the rest of the market. Again, it's kind of difficult to be saying anything more about it. Oh, Kathleen White, girl power in the boy cave. Oh, Kathleen White, much love to you. Here's a donation for the festive pants. Thanks for all your, hey, my pleasure. Elsa really appreciates that as well. I mean, it really makes this a pleasure to be doing every day with the community that we do have, and I really want to send those sentiments back to you as well and say, hey, massive thank you for that, and all the best. Hopefully, whatever time zone you're at, I'm guessing maybe in America over there. Your New Year's Eve is great. Your New Year's Eve is the best possible. I'm curious, what are you going to be doing on New Year's Eve? Because everything's closed down here, actually. It's either closed down or you need the old passport, and well, that might as well be closed down as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, pretty crazy. Anyways, because I don't think that the U.S. is closing down at all, are they? it seems like there's actually kind of been an about face recently. I was watching a video from Dr. Fauci this morning where basically it sounded like he was kind of starting to turn around to the whole thing as well, saying like, yeah, you know, there's a lot of cases in the hospitals, but it's a bit confounding there as well, just because, you know, if like a kid comes in with a broken leg and he also gets tested, then they mark it off as like a fucking, you know, flu thing as well. But whatever, I'm getting way off topic here. I'm probably pissing off even more people. Understand my intention with that. It just seems like the tides are turning right now. The tides are turning and things are starting to end. Weird how that is timed with the end of the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. By the way, she was guilty, but why did we not hear anything more about that? And what the hell was that with Prince Andrew? Definitely worth Googling. Really fucking weird shit, man. Elijah Smith says Solana USD. Sure. Yeah, we can do this one. Yeah, no one's really been calling out Solana recently as well. Again, kind of short term, showing a little bit of downside here. It looks like you are about to break the median of your range. So if you are looking at your short term timeframes on like a 4 hour, for example, I would be marking off this last sort of range lows coming in back from here. Your 17th of December actually been getting it quite well. Any sort of a closure below there, about 168 and a little bit of change. I would be looking for this one to work its way back down towards, you know, upper 150, somewhere between about 156 to 158 region. Again, whatever Bitcoin does, this one very likely follows. And then I would even call like a short-term range resolution to the upside above 177 and a quarter. So right now, very likely retest this trend line right here. The hoping is that you bounce there, put in a bit of a low, and then pop back above 177 and a quarter. If you see that, that would be your next sort of somewhat good signal, I guess, with implied price action short-term back up to 188. Long-term on a daily, well, relatively long term, I guess, compared to that, starts to look pretty damn good back up about 198 on a closure, or just above your last wick high right here with price action very likely pointed back up towards 130 to 130, not 130, 230 to 235 or so. Again, one of the better actors, certainly one of the better actors of 2021, but you know, short term sideways here in corrective. Basketball says, Krown, Mr. Kiss Me Please tenderly. Here's your kiss. Here's your kiss. Man, I gotta tell you, that fucking like half heart that me and Jason were trying to do on our podcast the other day, it's like seriously impossible. How the hell do girls do that? It's actually impossible to make a heart. It's with like the hand heart, you know, if you're just doing one half of it. It's literally impossible. Let's see, we got Mr. Orakazi next. He says 12-hour death cross forming on Ethereum in a short from 3,700. Hopium is the death cross. Okay, so death crosses can be very, very powerful, but the problem is, or not the problem, but the criteria is that needs to be like, you know, a good iteration of it. So are you looking at a simple moving average death cross or an exponential moving average death cross? And exponential moving averages ain't going to be death crossing here just yet. Obviously, it will inevitably be happening as long as price action is below about 3,900. But I'm guessing you're probably talking about you're probably talking about a simple moving average death cross, which I'm going to put on an orange 50 simple. And yes, they are about to happen right there. So here would be my counterpoint to this sort of a setup. And this is coming from someone who uses major moving averages as like a humongous part of his trading plan. But I actually am not a humongous fan of death crosses the more and more that I look at them in cryptocurrency land. However, if you are going to be playing death crosses like this, what you really want to see is you want to see price action very close to it. So in this case, you'd want to see it like right around here or right around the 21 at minimum. In this case, a lot of the time when you see something like that, you'll probably bounce up initially into it. And then the telling portion will be if you reject basically from the top side of this trend line right there, then that's probably your confirmation, and you should get at least one more move down towards your current lows. And if you break your current lows at 3,600, very likely looking at continuation towards that, let's just say 3,400 number, give or take about $50 from that number. So yeah, I'm curious actually if Ethereum has one coming in right there, then maybe Bitcoin does as well. Let's see. I haven't really been watching this, but oh yeah, that one happened way long ago. Holy shit, that one happened way over here. And again, you know, this is what I'm talking about. So when the cross happens very far away from price action, you can see that then it pops back up and tests around the 55 after that, and then you reject. And well, I guess that'd be sort of your indication that this one over here is probably going to work out. What about the daily? How close are we right here? Okay, still pretty damn far away, actually. Yeah, still pretty damn far away for what it's worth. So I don't really have much to make out of that. So I'll just get rid of that right now. Yeah, fair enough. Cool. All right, I think we got Mr. Kyle McDonald's next. What's up?
No, it's the bottom one.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. It's Cryptogenesis TV. How did I miss that one? Cardano, huh? Oh, you like the Carderpios. Alrighty. Don't hate me for this, man. Here's the thing. Again, whatever direction Bitcoin chooses, Carderpio is going to follow. If Bitcoin chooses the upside, Carderpio is probably not going to do too well to the upside, but it will very likely move to the upside. If Bitcoin chooses the downside, Carderpio will very likely outperform to the downside. And in this case right here, already showing a bit of weakness. If you're on a daily and or weekly, let's just see where the weekly is at right now. Not too hot. Let's say Bitcoin breaks 45,500. Where'd I be looking for Carderpio? Next sort of short-term bounce at about $1.10. Long-term, I'd be looking for it at about 90 cents. Let's say Bitcoin pulls through what I expect Carderpio to do. You'll know that it pulls through short-term if Carderpio starts to close. I guess I already have it charted out right there. Short-term time frames back up about 140, let's say 4 hour in this case, with moves back around your prior highs of this rally from the 20th of December at about $1.50 to $1.55. Very difficult to get excited about Carderpio as long as you are above this last lower high here. That's kind of the same thing as Bitcoin below $52,000. Problem is, if it does break out above there, well, I mean, the problem is that the way you go up is the way you come down, and the way you go down is the way you go up. And in this case, you know, I guess it could actually kind of slice on through. But I just remain, you know, long-term skeptical about it as long as you're below about 180 now. So you can kind of see the order of operations right there. It's just, you know, my point is that if Bitcoin does bust on through to the upside, you're probably not going to see this one follow in the same sort of violence there. It's probably going to be a little bit less impressive to the upside and probably more nasty to the downside. So short term, you know, where is your range lows right here? I mean, it's just basically the same thing as before. 120 on a daily. Below there, you know, kind of hard to be not looking towards low $1. Call it 110 minimum, probably more like $1 even. Probably do get another pity bounce around that region, but that pity bounce probably just leads into another lower high, and I'd really be looking for the next potential, I guess, major low somewhere around your last major wick lows here, which is about 80 cents or so, 80 to 85 cents, if that were to be met. Until then, you know, short-term hopium is above 140, and then your big one is going to be about 150 on a daily closing basis or 160 on a wick basis, and at that point, I guess you probably do actually have some nice upside, but. You know, when I go over here to the higher term timeframes, which sounds like you're more interested in, and let's put it on like the real chart right there. You know, you've already kind of corrected 70%. So, and it hasn't really had any major bounces on a monthly just yet as well. So is this thing more likely to slice down and make significantly new lows first rather than have a bit of a bounce to open up 2022? I don't think so, to be honest with you. But again, if Bitcoin breaks down here, this thing's very likely going to break down as well, and more significantly as well, which is not good. And 4 hour time frame on Bitcoin does look like it wants to kind of retest around your 46,500 lows or so. And then I guess the hopium is that, well, in about 15 minutes to 30 minutes, we actually will see the next major expiration. So a lot of the time around these major expirations, you'll see some like you know, a quick move back down around it. And then the hopium is that you pop back around there. If you see something like that, that's going to be your Carderpio. I think it was like 140, 139 or 140 region for the short term. And now it starts to look good. So yeah, again, a bit of hopium right there, but I mean, it's still relevant, I guess. You know, hasn't really been destroyed just yet. Cool. Let's see. I think we have Mr. Who do we have next? We do have, where is he? Comic Dons. There he is. ZIL USD. ZIL USD on the 4 hour and daily. Pour moi. Hey, I know what that means. That means for me. For Mina. ZIL. Zilliqua. Definitely Canadian crypto, I'm guessing. And short term, does look a little bit different than Bitcoin, actually, for what it's worth. Long term also looks different than Bitcoin, but not in a good way. This looks like another lower high right here, man. Hard to be bullish in this thing as long as you're below 8.5 cents on a daily. Above there, yeah, I do look for this one to go on a nice run, probably back up towards 9.5, 10 cents. Let's just say 10 cents. Until then, short term, where does this one start to fall apart again? Starts to fall apart again below your current consolidation lows at about 7.5 cents on a 4 hour closure. I would look for this one to come down and test 7 cents even after that. Hope for a bounce around there. If you do fail that region, very likely back down around your current lows. And you know, for what it's worth, this would not be an example of one of the stronger coins here. In fact, even got a drive of hidden bearish evidence on that last local high. So not a humongous fan of that one, but again, the hopium is that basically Bitcoin pulls through and pulls up the rest of the market with it. That is one hell of a chart there, man. Holy shit. What does a weekly look like? Kind of similar to Link in some ways, actually. But look, there's still a bit of hopium right here. I still kind of treat this as a bit of a, well, it's actually kind of more of a bullish consolidation right here, seeing as you do have some higher lows, but that gets destroyed again below 7.5 cents. So big number right there. Actually for not just short-term time frames, but medium and higher term time frames as well, I suspect. Cool. We got Noah97 next. He says CIS USD daily onwards to 115. I don't know. Let's see. I think this one we looked at yesterday and it was pretty good as well. Let's see. Yeah, still pretty damn good here, actually. Still very good, in fact. On a daily, if that is what you're looking at. Short-term time frames, a bit of correction here, kind of similar to the other good charts that we did see. Long-term, however, let's see, where are we at on this one? Kind of in no man's land right here. We are at the 2-spot extension, but that's not actually topped out. Thus far, it's actually topped out perfectly at this 2-spot extension right here. Let me just pull it in. So short-term, yeah, probably does correct back down, maybe back down around about 92 cents. If things get really crazy, somewhere down around about 85 to 87 cents. You do have some. Do you have bearish evidence for me here? Yeah, you do, ever so slightly. It's not like a death sentence or anything like that. All higher term time frames remain bullish, so I would just be looking for short term time frames to pull back into a higher low. Long term, probably into mid to late of January this coming month. Probably looking at about $1.20 to a buck and a quarter. So yeah, generally pretty good right here. Yeah, not bad. Actually looking for the weekly macro breakout, in fact, so not bad. Cool. Let's see where we at now. Jarian Crypto, what's up, man? PRQ, Parsec. Okay. No time frames given though, so I'm going with it 4-hour and daily as usual. Let's see. Not much history on a weekly. Not the best chart on a weekly as well either. Again, this one would fit the category of relatively weak, bad, very bad, below 38 cent. Where is this one good again? Similar to Bitcoin, back above 52. This one would be about 50, actually about just under 52 cents in this case, with targets back up big time towards 65, maybe even 70 cents. Probably more like 70 cents actually, somewhere back around here, if that condition were met. But yeah, just clinging on to the lows for dear life right now. So again, if Bitcoin fails, well, so you probably find this thing way back down around your 31 to 30 cent lows. And hopefully that was helpful, sir. Matthew Stanislaw says, rent due tomorrow. Oh shit, Cardano BTC. Okay. Should I be preparing for with Vaseline? I don't know. Are you long or short? 4 hour daily. Should I be preparing for? Mr. Jackson said everything will be fine because he loves me. That's right. I do love you. You're great. You're amazing. Ride the tree. No. Okay. Well, I mean, the Vaseline for the Barrows gets prepared back above about 30-50 Satoshis on a daily, and I'd be looking for big moves up. Minimum next target would be about 36.25. So that is your hopium for rent being paid. Short term, however, short term probably going to retest about 27.70. You do lose your short term time frame structure below about 27.60. Let's call it on a 4 hour closure, with targets back down towards 26.80 to 26.5 after that. Yeah, not great. Yeah, not great. Hopium is back above here. Doomium is short term back below here. Until then, just curious what a weekly looks like. I mean, it's actually not terrible long term, to be fair. It's just you're dealing with such massive, just girthy moves that this one plays out violently moves to the upside and violent corrections to the downside. Jesus Christ, man. Balls of steel to trade something like this, in my opinion. I actually do think it's starting to put in a bit of a local low right here. The question is, does it retest your current lows or not? I would go with saying that it will retest your current lows if you do close below about 27.60 or 27.50. If not, I guess I treat this as a bit of a base scenario, although it does not look like that right now. Yeah, difficult one right there, man. Sloppy as can be. Algo Gator says, when buy Algo? Why I miss Moon? 4 hour daily weekly. Did we look at this one earlier? Nice username to post content ratio, bro. Algo Gator. I see what you did there, man. Clever. Very clever. 4 hour daily weekly. Actually pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, you're testing around your range highs right now. You do have a bit of a higher low right there. I actually look at this one as bullish and actually in a bit of a early reversal here, and this reversal is consistent, especially as long as you're above 156. I believe we looked at this one yesterday, and I'm guessing the US dollar. Oh yeah, this is a US dollar. I think that this one's popping back up to $2 highs. I think this is actually quite okay. and a very different chart than most other things. Short term, do you see a bit of a correction down to like 162? Definitely fine if it does happen. I look at this one as generally very good, actually above 155. Below 155, I do look for a retest around your current lows at about 141, 142 region. Until then, I actually think that this is one of the more interesting charts from the short term narrative. In fact, thank you for calling this one out. Actually, rather interesting right here. But yeah, very, very short term does probably try for another higher low somewhere around about low 160s. So yeah, cool. Okay, we got that. I think it is time for, okay, we just got a few more actually. Just a few more to wrap this bitch up. AKM Mikar says, Adam, please, 4 and daily. Okay, is it a cup and handle? I don't know. Let's see. Daily, is the daily cup and handle? Is it? No. Okay, so when you're talking about cup and handles, you're really the deeper that the potential handle would be coming down means that it is less and less bullish. Like if it's a cup and handle, you really like you actually had a cup and handle over here. This would be your handle, and then that was that move over here. And I imagine you probably even hit your targets from that. Let's just double check here. Something like this. Oh, and what do you fucking know? Oh my God, perfect right there. This is one massive macro cup and handle. No, you have a different thing going on right here. So it's best to simplify when in doubt. And to be fair, this is actually like not that bad. In fact, unless, oh, maybe you're talking about this right here. You might be talking about this right here. In which case, I still don't know if I'd call it a cup and handle. It's a little bit like you really want to see them a lot more rounded out. Yeah, anyways, regardless of that, it doesn't matter what the fuck you call it. Look, above 32.80, good, great. Very likely works its way at minimum towards $36 and probably more like $38.50 to $40 to be honest with you, and would look just generally good overall. Bad below what is your current higher low at 26.5 with targets back down towards your low bases, but actually pretty damn good over here compared to a lot of the charts that we've seen today. I imagine short-term timeframes are still. Actually, short-term timeframes are fine, man. Short-term corrections down to $29 completely fine. I have no issues with that. All higher-term timeframes actually generally good here. Just want to see it close above about 32.80, and well, probably more of the same, man. This one generally goes up and to the right. Generally pretty damn good. Cool. Mr. David says Maha. Okay, it's a new. Is this the fucking the Maha? I don't know. Actually, what the fuck? This thing's good as well. Daily and monthly. There ain't no monthly on this thing, man. There ain't no monthly on something that's been around for less than a year, let alone a fucking 6 months. But generally pretty damn good. Do I think that it corrects here short term? Well, short term time frames are continuation for right now. If it does correct down to $6.30 or to $6.50, I think that's fine. This one's generally up here and very likely does continue on to new all-time into early January. Let's see what the relevant targets would be. You're kind of at a big one right here, so I am kind of inclined to say that you do pull back relatively soon and play at a range between about 7.5 to 6.5, which is fine. As long as you're above 6.5, I do look at this one as macro bullish, and the next move upon validation above your 7.5 region on a higher term time frame closure would be somewhere around $9.25 to $10 or so. It'd actually look quite good. Hey, thank you for that, Mark, and best to you as well, man. Best to you as well. I think we have J3F next. It says SOS. Okay, is this the? Yeah, this is the Somali shilling. They call their currency the shilling. Wow. This is the OpenDAO token thing. Anyways, yeah, it's very new, so like an hourly maybe. It's actually okay here. You're on the precipice of a bit of an hourly breakout, in fact, as well. Any sort of a closure above 695 or 700, and I look for this one to probably retest around its prior highs, 830 to maybe as much as 900 basically. Very new chart, though, so can't really do too much with it, but just want to see it validated above that region. Until then, if it does want to have a short-term correction, you do have a bit of bearish divergence going on right here. Not a whole hell of a lot, but if it corrects back down to like 580 to 590, that's fine. Just another higher low. Only problems below about 530 in this case, and probably falls back down to its prior lows. But again, very, very new chart. Proof of life on Lucky Sir, please. Actually, he's not here today. He was here yesterday, in fact. Rose, we got that from Mr. Vince, and Sis. Okay, did we do Sis, or was it a different one? So we can end on this one. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, this one was one of the better ones. Yeah, we've looked at this one already. Generally pretty good. I think that you are getting your first short-term time frame correction after breaking out to new all-time highs. Higher lows anywhere around 91.5 cents are fine. Could even come down all the way down to 85 cents. That's completely fine. I look at this one as in a long-term breakout right here with targets over the next few weeks into mid to late January, somewhere around $1.20 to $1.30 or so. Would be the next major area. So hopefully that was helpful, man. But if you're just looking at short-term targets, then I'm actually looking for a little bit of downside here. Play out some of that bearish divergence and try for a higher low at like low 90. And if that fails, then about 84, 85 cents or so. Cool, man. I think that was the end of it for today. Wow. Last day of 2021. Well, sirs and sirs, fellas and ladies, and all people who are watching right now, I hope that you have the best last day of 2021 that you could possibly ever want. Always remember there's another day if it isn't, and we'll be here regardless of that. So we'll be back on tomorrow, not with the live stream, but just with a regular uploaded analysis. And we'll be back on the live stream schedule for next Monday. It's been an absolute pleasure. This whole year has been a fucking phenomenal year. It's really been amazing. This community has grown like significantly, and I think that we've got like the right people in this community. It really seems like the chats are staying consistent, which is good, and people kind of aware, the new people, of like what it's all about here, which is amazing, because that's the kind of community that I want to be a part of. Reasonable, rational people who who can deal with the complexities of trading and technical analysis, and just also having a good time as well, man. Understanding that this is this is a very exciting space, and 2021 was a phenomenal year. I mean, shit, we started the year off at like what, fucking $30,000 or $25,000, and now Bitcoin's at $47,000. Understanding the long-term sort of trajectory of this asset, I think is one of the more comforting things for a lot of people in this market. And perspective. I mean, this has been an incredible year just across the board, and that's just Bitcoin. I mean, most things in this market went up fucking several X's, which is amazing. So hopefully the community here had a nice and profitable 2021. If not, then hopefully you had some profitable learning from 2021. And by the way, the options expiration is about to happen in just I think no more than 30 minutes here. So keep an eye out for some for a little bit of violent price action in the short term. And stay safe, and we'll be back on soon enough. I want to wish you well yet again, wish you the best of 2021. And a massive thank you for just being a part of this. With that said, take care, and hopefully we will see you in the next one.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR, pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate, pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, flip, unflip it, see it, watch it,